laws that acted in a way with a gun that certainly none of my friends, and I'm a Second Amendment guy, and a gun owner, as Mika's family has been in her entire life. Law-abiding gun owners don't like seeing people breaking the laws and running around in open streets with AR-15s. I'll tell you who else doesn't like that. Police officers, our military. That's a chaotic situation with somebody who's untrained with a weapon, going to the middle of civilians and just looking for trouble. And it is trouble that he found. It's sort of like the George Zimmerman case where Zimmerman became a hero of extremists. And then we found out if the night that he shot an unarmed guy wasn't enough, we found out what a deplorable human being George Zimmerman was with his actions. We've seen videos of this guy beating up girls. Can you imagine that? Beating up girls? Going around with a T-shirt that trolls the fact that he is out of prison. Well, again, not to be pesky here with details, but he killed 2 people. And I don't know if that's what PTSD looks like, where you're joking about being free as you know what, but I'm just concerned for the people who are trying to turn this kid into a hero. Ask police officer you know whether he's a hero. Ask people who support gun rights and are law-abiding gun citizens whether they like people running around city streets. They'll probably tell you they won't. By the way, on I think it was Thursday or Friday, I just saw it on Twitter. On Thursday or Friday, I had said that he fired 60 rounds. Obviously, anybody who's followed this knows that's not the case. He fired most of his rounds, according to the Washington Post, in about 60 seconds. I asked a question to Claire, and that's the question I was trying to ask. It's always early in the morning. I obviously misspoke. Jonathan Lemire, though, it is strange how again, people define conservatism in the most bizarre ways, and they go out of their way and pick people who break the law and act terribly as their heroes. And it looks like, again, Kyle Rittenhouse is one of those cases where people on both sides are vilifying or are praising this guy when actually everybody should be lined up shoulder to shoulder saying it's a really bad thing to have kids get AR-15s because they think it's, quote, cool, go across state lines and shoot people. Not something that our police officers want.
No, and it's not even really about conservative ideology and the tenets of it anymore. It's all about just, it's not at all. It's about the culture wars. It's about identity. It's about owning the libs. They're grabbing the hold of someone and making them the poster child for some larger thing when that person, in this case particularly, is a kid, an extraordinarily problematic example who, at the very least, transported a gun across state lines. And as every legal expert that we've talked to on this show has said, that even if perhaps he will be acquitted of some of the higher charges, at the very least he's going to get hit on that. They would expect something about the weapons charge, the AR-15. And 2 people lost their lives here. But it was that moment in Kenosha was just, it came during the height of the protests after the George Floyd's death. It came at the height of the presidential campaign that was stoked by then President Trump, and it became yet another example of Team Red, Team Blue, another example of political division, just like the pandemic and masks and vaccines, and the list is so depressingly long.
Yeah, it's so strange. You know, we're sitting here talking about gun safety after Alec Baldwin's, the shooting on Alec Baldwin's set. And talk about gun safety, never pointed at anybody, and always make sure it's unloaded and always take special care. That's what, again, law-abiding, gun-owning, Second Amendment rights, supporting citizens do. So, again, this kid is no hero for Second Amendment advocates. This kid is a warning to parents and others to make sure before somebody picks up a gun, they actually understand gun safety and they don't go into places where they're going to be in the cops' way and make the cops' job, make our law enforcement officers' job even more difficult.